Okay, now, this is the part where if you're going to do it, it would be a good idea to put on the polyacrylic. It's not going to hurt the foam, but actually what it's going to do is, if you put a coat, preferably two, onto the foam, it's going to give it a hard-like shell, well, a more durable shell. And if you play with people that aren't too, that aren't exactly gentle with your stuff, it's going to protect your foam from getting damaged too quickly. I use this stuff sometimes, but for the purpose of this, I'm not going to be using it because not many people touch my stuff. So, except at conventions, which a lot of my stuff goes to, but all in all, I haven't been using this for my walls, but not for my walls at least. But if you want to give it your stuff some extra durability, give it a coat or two of this. And this would be the time to put it on. Okay, now right now is where you basically want to prime it. And what color you prime it doesn't really matter. But what brand you use. I'm going to be using Apple Barrel Basic Black for this. So grab one of my little trays here. Now if you don't want to brush on the base coat, there is a product from Krylon called H2O Latex. I don't have black. I couldn't find my black, so I just grabbed my blue to show it to you. This is a spray paint that you can actually spray on foam, and it doesn't hurt. It's getting a little hard to find, but do a web search and you can find it. But yeah, you can actually, this is a spray paint that you can use on foam without it being damaged. It will dry to a little bit of a sheen, but that doesn't really matter if you're for the base coat. So let's get the black on. Like I said, this is why I love saving these stupid things. Okay, now the first spot that well, actually, you know what? Here is why you needed the brush. So now I didn't have it with this particular piece, but when you're cutting the indents in there, a lot of times you'll get, if your tool isn't turned up, isn't at the right temp, you'll get like spider webs or long strings. Toothbrush takes it right off. Not a problem. Or you can finger rub it, but after a while your thumb's gonna. Well, if you're making a great, but toothbrush is an easy way of getting them off. Actually, that's a tip I got from Terrainaholic. But anyway, simple brush. Now I'm going a little heavy on because I need to make sure I get the paint into the recess here, because it can be a pain in the butt. It really can be a pain in the butt. But I think I got it all in that recess without much of a problem. But just do a good look, make sure you got it. And you basically, like I said, this is just painting it black, really. I mean, there's nothing special to this. I mean, you don't even have to be neat. Okay, now I realize this part's still pink here, but to let it dry, I just stand it on the paper, this paper here, so it can just sit and dry. And then once it's dry, I'll come back and hit it up with the black. Set that off to the side. Okay, now I already have. Now, okay, granted, I realize this piece is longer, but in the interest of time for this video, I got a couple pieces ready. So, want to get my first shade of black, first shade of gray. Okay, now what I did, I took Apple Barrel's pewter gray, and I put some black, and I basically made my own other, shades, darker and lighter shades of it by adding black to the darker, white to for the lighter shade, just so I could have my own. I wouldn't have to go too much of a search. But anyway, put the first coat of gray on. Now this is basically a heavy overbrush. You want to get a good coverage with this. And, alright. Basically, okay, I'm in camera here. Little gray, get it on here. And a nice little overbrush. You want a pretty good coverage with this coat. Okay, now, as you can see, I got a pretty good coat. I even did the bottom, which is not necessary, but I like to put some extra paint on the bottom to just give a little extra, give the foam a little extra strength, I guess. I don't know. I only do the bottom for this. After this, I don't do the bottom because it's just a waste of time. But again, for this coat, I'm leaving a section here black, so I can basically let it stand up and dry. So, alright, now I want to go to the next. So once it's done drying, this is basically what you're going to wind up with. Actually, for this one, I didn't do the bottom. Haha. You don't have to do the bottom. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just depends. Alright. Okay, let's go to the next color here. Blah, blah, blah. So get another one of these. Go with the standard pewter gray. Yay! If I can get it to come the hell out of my damn... And I'm getting towards the end of this jar here. Alright. Now, you don't want quite as much coverage with this one. This is basically going to be a heavy dry brush. I'm going to assume you all know how to dry brush, but alright. And that's basically what you're left with. Alright. Let that sit to dry. And let me get rid of this. And I'll show you the final highlight. Alright. Now, actually, this one pre-prepped one is longer still. But, like I said, it's just a pre-prep. So, I'm getting my third and final highlight of gray, which was the pewter gray with some white paint mixed in. So, again, Apple Barrel brand. And this is going to be a light dry brush, because yes, you can see the difference here between kind of heavy dry brush, but you can see the difference here. But yeah, that's all it is really. I'm using a bit, different brush because other one I was using hadn't dried out yet. I'm going to say, get as much of this out as I can. No big deal here. Alright. Let's get this last one done here. Okay, and there's your wall. 2-inch wall. This one happens to have 4 sections. 2-inch tall wall. This one happens to have 4 sections to it. You can do it as short or as long as you want. Doesn't matter. Like I said, this is it next to a Marauder 2C. So you get the idea of its height here. And like I said, they will sit on the wall. No problem. But you gotta understand, this wall is 1-inch thick. So if you want to go a little bit thinner, that's fine. I just like to go this thick because sometimes in a game, a mech can be on top of the wall. I know it sounds kind of weird, but a mech that has jump jets can get up there anyway. If you want level 1 walls, then you just cut it 1 inch high. That's the only difference in the steps. Then everything else is exactly the same. I've actually made 1-inch walls. Let me go get one. Here's a 1-inch tall wall, as you can see, with the mech next to it. And again, 1-inch thick. These are 2-inch sections for someone else that I made, for the guys at BB Traders that I'm making, because they play on 2-inch hexes. But another thing you can do, I use. Now the foam I use is a tongue and groove kind of foam. Let me see. See, tongue and groove here. But one thing you can do is for the edges that have the tongue and the groove, you can use those to make a specialized type of wall. Not a problem. So you see, for those who say, oh, you should never buy that. Well, you know what? I have a use for it. Nah. So, this could be a wall that the mechs couldn't stand on. Actually, I've thought about running like some pipe or some kind of tubing through here. Which actually isn't a bad idea because I could still do that. But, that's something you can use for the tongue and groove foam if that's what you wind up buying. Which is what I do. I hope you guys, but you know what, I almost forgot this step. I do matte seal it. Be careful with this because every once in a while, being that it's got so many layers of paint on it already, let it dry overnight, and then the next day, you can take some matte sealer to it. It'll help protect the paint, and it'll also give it yet another coat on. I've only ever once ran into a problem with regular matte sealer on this stuff. But that was with one single piece out of several hundred that I've made. So, not that big a deal. Because all of these layers of paint that you just put on will protect it. Or should. There's still a possibility it could go through, but the risk ain't that high. So, I hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, if you do it a different way, or if you think you know a better way, hey, comment. I read my comments. Or make your own, post a video response, or, put a video doing something similar on your own channel. I would love to see it.